like science.
I like science.
I like science.
Hey, we're back and we're sick.
Science.
We're back and we're sick. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
we're back from Fan X, and I guess everybody caught a cold.
uh-huh.
Yep.
Seems like there was one running rampant
Yeah,
throughout the
so
convention
I'll
center.
see if I can hit the mute when I'm coughing and or sneezing.
Yeah, you
Sneezing
mean,
seems to have stopped for today, but we'll see. It'll
yeah,
probably happen later tonight
mine.
because it always happens at night, it seems.
It's
Or
always worse at night. Why is that? It's like
yeah,
the time when
yeah,
you
I
need
don't
to
know.
rest.
I can get becoming more congested at night. That way you're not sleeping with a runny nose.
Yeah,
But the fact that allergies get worse once the sun goes down is just weird.
it's
I
just
don't know why
dumb.
that is, but it's
It's so
weird.
dumb. So yeah, you get the sick version of us today. But
Mm.
we're soldiering on. We're gonna do this episode for you guys. So
Did you want to
there.
cover any of the Star Trek stuff from the con
Uh,
first?
sure, actually. So yeah, met Jonathan Frakes. What a
Yeah.
delightful human.
Mm-hmm.
I was also one of the few people that picked a picture of him behind the camera instead of in front
Yes.
of it. And we had a nice little chat. It was a lovely chat. I actually have loved his wife for probably 40 years as well because, as a teenager, I watched Days of Our Lives, and she actually kind of went between Days of Our Lives and General Hospital. And he
Right.
updated me on how now she's the mayor in General
Oh, wow.
Hospital and stuff. And he was so delightful. It was a pleasure to meet
Yes.
him. LeVar Burton too. I actually got to stand next to Keith David for a few seconds while he talked to LeVar
Right.
Burton. So
Yeah,
that
because
was,
there's a mutual appreciation society between the two of
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Because,
there really is.
LeVar being in Roots is so instrumental in reading Rainbow and then Star Trek, just being a
Hmm.
black actor
Yeah,
is, and the panel that we watched them do too, there was a black guy doing the
moderating.
moderating. That's it. I want to say
Hmm.
commenting, but it's moderating. And it was saying that LeVar Burton showed where Black people were in the past with Roots, in the present with Reading Rainbow, and in the future with Star Trek. And so he just,
What an
this one
insight.
actor that spans, the course of history for Black American culture
Hmm.
is pretty remarkable.
It was pretty remarkable, and it was pretty
And that he's
remarkable.
so humble.
Yes, yes, he is very humble, and he had a shitload of people waiting for him.
Yeah, he had a big ass line.
Had a big ass line. So, but I got my moment, and that was good.
Hmm.
Um, Fred Tatasciore. Oh my God.
Right. That was fun. That
Oh
was
my
particularly
God.
fun. And we saw a panel with him on it too.
Yes. Okay. So we had to wait quite some time, even though the
Hmm.
line wasn't that big, because there were people who were paying shitloads of money to get him to autograph multiple amounts of Funko Pop figures,
Pop
right?
figures probably from the translated or dubbed anime figures, I think.
Yeah.
Because
And
yeah,
and
he's a
so
big voice actor.
oh yeah, yeah, he's done fucking everything. And
Well, he's doing Megatron right now for crying out loud.
yeah, and all these people wanted very specific things written
Hmm.
on these pop figures,
Yeah,
and
like
he was
entire
just,
text.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was just doing it for them because
Hmm.
he was just overjoyed to be there.
Yep.
And so when I whipped out my Shax's Best Day comic for him to sign, he was delighted. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't think
think he
he'd ever
even
seen it before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he even knew that that comic existed, and he opened it up and started reading text bubbles with
Hmm.
Shax's voice, and he called me baby bear, you guys. I'm a
Yep.
baby bear.
Hmm. You sure are.
Yeah, what a kind and inspiring man. He was just one of the best celebrity interactions I've ever had, and I'm going to
Yeah.
treasure that comic forever
It
and
seems like
ever.
Star Trek usually chooses well, at least, its talent. It's, before the camera and its directors.
Yeah,
Producers, not so much, but that's where you get in producing is, yeah, that's a really kind of icky area. The more you delve into producing, the more horrible people you will find.
Well, I think that that has taken a turn with this new
Yeah,
era of Trek.
right.
So there we are,
Yep. Yeah,
But
Kurtzman seems to be a good guy, even though, he's largely responsible for the Kelvin universe, but he's also largely responsible for the resurgence of popularity of Star Trek. So it's a balance. And
mm-hmm.
some people really love those movies, so it's not, my place to tell them that it's not legitimate or anything,
Oh,
because there's a Star Trek out there for everyone.
it's absolutely legitimate, and I would
Yeah,
never take that away. I may not like two of the three movies,
right,
but that doesn't mean I don't understand their importance and
right.
appreciate that they exist.
Yeah, and
It's
it
just you're
draws
not,
new fans. Yeah.
yeah, you're just not going to get me to watch them again.
Yeah.
Beyond, I will absolutely watch multiple
Mhm.
times.
Yeah, if you can
2009 and Into Darkness, no.
yeah, spark interest in new Star Trek fans so they'll find other Star Trek, then that's great.
Yep.
And even if they just want the Kelvin universe alone, that's fine too. There's
Mm-hmm.
it's like how I was talking with our panel on the goth representation in pop culture, is that it's like you can be a 1d4 kind of person with, goth being on one side, or you could be a 1d20 person with goth being on one side. There's scales of
Mm.
how much, you delve into the culture. And I think that's relates to any kind of fandom like Star Trek too. It doesn't have to be your total personality.
Yeah.
You can have just or your total interest. You can have just a slice of Star Trek and be a Star Trek fan, or you can love all of it and be a Star Trek fan.
Yeah. There's no I hate this phrase, real fan. You're not a real fan.
Yeah.
Just fuck off with what you think is a real fan then, because if that's what you think people have to be, then just fuck off. Fuck off.
Yeah, the gatekeeping is unnecessary, and
Yep.
what's real Star Trek and what's not real Star
Ugh,
Trek. And
God, stop
yeah,
it.
it's the people involved in Star Trek that is creating Star Trek. So really, I don't think, people's personal opinion has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the goth panel went okay. I got flummoxed by one question that was basically asking to sum up everything I had covered up to that point. It's basically like, how to represent, a goth character, and then that was the question. Is like, well, that was pretty much what I just covered, so kind of flummoxed me a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you do you.
Yeah, I just reviewed that whole thing. Is, just be respectful, and, not, don't be lazy about it. Do a little
Yeah.
bit of research.
Not all
uh
goths are the same.
Authentic. Yeah, add nuance and depth, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Don't make being goth their total personality. They have other interests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Will Wheaton wearing a Sisters of Mercy shirt, speaking of.
Yes, he
So that was fun to
was.
see.
And I got to ask him a question during that Star Trek panel, and
Yeah.
that was my gateway to getting him to talk about season two of Prodigy and his part in it. And I almost cried. I'm like,
Hmm.
Brandy, you are not going to cry when he's staring right at you. Stop it.
Well, he seemed to be a little put out how little he featured in Picard
Oh yeah. Yeah,
season three, that he was just there at the tail end and
it
kind
was just a
or
cameo.
yeah, when in season two of Prodigy, he is instrumental. He
Hmm.
plays a very major role in that season of Star Trek. So,
He's in more episodes than he's not in season two of
right.
Prodigy.
Yeah.
So,
And he's integral to the plot. He's not just
hmm
there to be a face, or to
yeah.
be an Easter egg. He's there to move the story along.
And basically they, he wanted to leave Next Generation, and I understand all of the factors that went into that. And especially as a young man and the things he was going through in his family life and things
Oh,
like that,
yes.
I can understand
Yeah, it's hard to
why he
be
did.
a child actor.
Yeah, I understand what he did, why he did what he did, and then he
Hmm.
just never got the chance to really revisit and appreciate the character in a way that was more than a cameo at the end of Star Trek Picard.
Hmm.
So that was season two. Yeah, season two of Star Trek Picard, because that was the back end time for the whole fucking series.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And it's a
Um,
little like how some of the actors that play Doctor Who that
mm,
didn't get to really embrace the character as they would want to perform the character during the
mm,
series. And so when they go to audio, these audio plays,
Yeah.
that they get to interpret the character their own way and really have fun with it. And
Yeah.
a lot of times there's like more audio than there are television episodes.
That's because Big Finish is a big company now.
Yeah, yeah.
They started out they started out small and they're really like the
Hmm.
go-to people for Doctor Who audio dramas.
Yep.
So, but yeah, and then our panel on women in Trek went very well. And
Yeah, that was a good series. It was early too, and you had a good attendance, which I was a little worried about because, it was early on the first day. I was wondering if you would get anybody to show up, but yeah, and it was also in the boonies, so
yeah,
getting
way
people
out
to
in the
trek all
boonies.
the way from the convention floor to go to a panel is tricky. And then the annoyance of having a professional amateur, well, um, a wrestling show nearby
Mm-hmm.
and the noises from that.
Then and basically like a carnival barker trying to get us to go. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go do a panel, thanks.
Yeah, just yelling and trying to draw people's attention to go see the show, which I understand. You want to
Yeah,
draw people in to see the event, but just be aware that there's other things going on.
yes. One last thing. This has happened since we did our last episode. There is a new book out by Nana Visitor called
Oh,
Open a
great.
Channel, A Woman's Trek. And I haven't finished the book yet, but what I have read is unbelievable, you
Right.
guys. You need this book. You need this book
Yeah, the cover
because
is intriguing too because it has like most, if not all the,
yeah, well,
major
a lot
women
of the major
actors on the
ladies.
cover. Yeah.
And it's she does not pull punches with her conclusions and her opinions, and I
Hmm.
appreciate that because, for instance, I had forgotten, or maybe I never even knew that Majel Barrett was Gene Roddenberry's mistress before
Right.
she was his wife,
Hmm.
and she was married and had kids when they started seeing each other.
Oh.
So, yeah. I'm glad that they ended up happy together. And at the same time, I'm just like, "Ugh, such a
Yeah, it's
typical
a little
male."
icky. Yeah, there's stuff about Roddenberry that, people like treat him as a saint, and it's like, nah, he was mercantile. He was duplicitous in ways, kind of a little skeevy in some respects, and his treatment of women wasn't really. But it was the era too, so it's
hmm
hard to reflect back on people from a different time and judge their morals.
You would be, yeah, that's why this it's interesting to read this book because there is stuff of obviously stuff in there about Gene, and
Right,
some of it is not what you think.
right.
So, but what I will say is that I know that he was the kind of guy that just wanted everybody to fuck everybody. No,
That's
no
understand. Well,
bars,
yeah,
no holds barred. Just, everybody just a big love in.
no holds barred
hmm
or holds barred.
I said holds barred.
Holds. Okay. Just clarifying for the audience if you're
No
making a pun
holds
on that.
barred.
Right.
So anyway, so yeah, go out and get that book because that came out on October 1st. And if you don't know that much about the one journey of the female in Star Trek as far as actors and storylines, well, get ready to have your eyes open. So,
Yeah.
all
Well,
right.
there wasn't really anything on the convention floor that we got Star Trek wise, was there?
No, there really
Yeah,
wasn't
there's
more much
nothing
to
really on
see.
offer. Yeah.
Like can you remember any Star Trek fan
I
art?
don't,
Because I don't.
there was probably fan art, but we really didn't visit the artists too much.
Mm,
I mean, there's a couple we dropped by, like there's some stuff for What We Do in the Shadows, which was cool to grab
yep.
because we didn't see much of that. But yeah, for Star Trek, I didn't notice anything in particular, no.
No, there really wasn't. And everything, I felt like everything was just jumbled together because usually
Yeah.
they have this divide between
Hmm.
vendors and artists, and they
Right.
didn't do that this time. They just threw them all together. Like they
Yeah.
just jumbled up a bunch of dice in a bag and threw them on the floor.
Yeah,
Just,
it was weird. Yeah.
yeah. There were a lot of things I didn't care for about this con. I feel like the lack of information was
Oh, that was
bigger than
particularly
it's
bad.
ever been.
Yeah, because I just on a fluke went to the check-in just to see what was up, and we managed to get some VIP like bracelet strip things, little wristband, so we could fast track through lines and get decent sittings at panels and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't so much worried about panel seating as I was just getting through autograph lines because
Yeah,
I knew that
that's a time sink.
pretty much all the people, that's the biggest
Mm.
time sink right there is
Mm,
standing in line wearing autographs,
yeah,
wearing
like
autographs, waiting for
yeah,
autographs. I'm so tired.
general admission in line to get an autograph. That's going to be most of your day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We managed to get two. No, we managed to get,
Three
yeah,
in
we
one
managed to
day
get
and
two.
then one the next. Because you got all three Star Trek things on one day.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Because day one was shorter than the rest.
And then
So
you
yeah,
got Neil's,
I got Neil's the
Neil,
first day. He was our
yeah,
first one.
from Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate 3
Yep,
plays Astarion, my favorite character ever.
yep.
That's saying something because I don't pick favorites.
We attended that panel too, which is great.
It was
It was very
fantastic.
fun. Yeah,
It
Devora
was.
fell in love with Salt Lake City. She's like, I want to move here.
Oh,
Then she
oh
tried
no,
ranch
honey.
for the first time and it was like, oh, this is great.
And everybody's like, just wait till you try fry sauce.
Yeah. It's like fry sauce is to die for. It's like our
It's the best
major
thing.
invention.
You can get that at grocery stores now. Just look
Yeah.
for fry sauce in the
Hmm.
ketchup aisle and you'll find it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have talked about other stuff for
We've
too long,
talked,
so
yeah, so we should get into this episode. Season 5, episode 10 of Voyager, Counterpoint.
counterpoint. I must admit, I do not remember a lot about this episode from the first time that I saw it, and
I
so a
can
lot
see
of
why.
this, a lot of, well, the thing is, it's just, the preempting of the series and stuff like that, and
Right.
so there were a lot of things that were missed when it was originally airing. But anyway, so yeah, counterpoint. So Voyager is traveling through this rather large area of the
Hmm.
Devore Empire, what the fuck ever they want to call
Yeah,
it.
Emporium or something, which makes it sound like a shop.
Emporium.
I swear that's what they called it, an
Imperium.
Emporium.
Imperium.
Imperium. Okay. Emporium. Yeah, it's the
This is
Devore
the Devore
Emporium.
Emporium.
And of course, they're looking for shoplifters, so they stop and frisk the Voyager crew. So what I said immediately is, "Oh my God, they're stopping and frisking these." It's like New York City under Giuliani or something. It's like this is a violation of my constitutional rights. You have
Yep.
no probable cause to, but yeah,
Yep.
and they're looking for something, but we don't know until later on what they're looking for.
Yeah. My immediate notes on well, we find out his name later, but I think we just call it Inspector.
Right.
The first thing I think is,
Inspector Gadget.
this guy is
Boo-doo-doo-doo.
gross. They're like, this guy is greasy and gross, is what I wrote
Oh yeah,
on
he is
there.
smarmy.
Oh, so smarmy. And
He's a
he's
bit
filled,
like Kyle MacLachlan when he was in Agents of Shield.
yes,
Kind of that level of smarm.
yes, yes. Definitely the guy who thinks he knows it all.
Right.
And yeah. Let's see. I wrote down his name.
It's the two syllables,
Mark
isn't it?
Mark
It's like
Haralick.
Keshik or
No, no, no,
something.
no. It's Kashyyyk, but
Oh,
I'm talking about the actor's name, Mark Haralick.
he's the planet with
Um,
all the Wookiees.
he is the planet with all the Wookiees.
Okay, so Inspector Kashik. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Actually, the Wookiee pronunciation of the word would take far
Kashyyyk.
longer
Right.
because
Oh
you got to
yeah.
pronounce all of the additional
Right.
consonants and vowels. So,
Right.
well done, Mark. I enjoyed him. I enjoyed him even
Yes.
though he spoke
He's a love to hate
so,
kind of character.
yeah, he spoke so deliberately
Oh
when he
yeah.
was in his inspector persona. And then when he put on the I'm trying to escape persona, he wasn't
Hmm.
as deliberate with the way he spoke.
I
It
got
was interesting.
stage actor from him.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he's
Yeah.
been a stage
Yeah, I
actor,
got
but
that
I
kind
haven't looked
of
him up.
just the way he carried himself and the way he spoke. It
Hmm.
was like that's somebody who's Shakespearean trained.
Probably,
Yeah. Like
probably.
Picard, that
Kind of
kind of
very.
level.
I'd like to know what he looks like without the makeup. I'm gonna have to look him
Yeah,
up
without the
later.
loaf, as the
Yeah.
race track guys call it.
Yeah, yet another forehead alien. I call them
Yep.
forehead
Yeah,
aliens.
forehead aliens. Yeah.
So,
Ridges,
yeah.
ruffles, ridges.
So I imagine my horror when I find out that Tuvok is dead, and then I'm like, no, he's not. Obviously,
Oh yeah,
he's
they're
not.
listing Tuvok's dead,
All
all
of
the
the
Vulcans are
other,
dead, all the Bajorians are dead because they're all telepaths.
yeah,
We're like,
Tuvok and
well,
Bork are dead, and they mentioned that also that other telepath,
telepathic
that's
race.
Betazoid.
Yeah.
I want to say Sudon. Oh gosh, I know it begins with an S. And
Pseudolon or something like that.
she said his name
Sudafed.
is yeah, Sudafed. Sudafed is mentioned, and he's the one that was undergoing behavior rehabilitation with Tuvok because he killed a guy.
Oh, is this the Brad Dourif character?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay. I
indeed.
love Brad Dourif so much.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Oh, him
He's
and
so good.
Deadwood. Oh, my favorite character in that
Yeah, he's
series.
so good in everything.
Yeah.
He can be really creepy.
Hmm.
He was also in Dune with Kyle MacLachlan. It's a
Yeah,
circle.
he
It's a
gets to do
circle.
the little meditation about the spice,
Hmm.
and fears the mind killer. And
Yes. But also, the drinking of the juice because
hmm
he's a mentat. Anyway,
it creates the stain, stain, blah blah blah, etc.
is a
etc.
warning.
It's sampled in a Frontline Assembly song in Take a Drink, because here I am referencing some goth industrial stuff. But yeah, it's actually it's Cyberactive, which is
Mm.
members of Skinny Puppy and Frontline Assembly working on a side project, and they recently released a new album. But yeah,
Ooh.
back in the 80s they did this song. God, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it features the sample of Brad Dourif reading the meditation from Dune.
Hmm. Anyway, so long story short, fascists go over
Yep. Oh yeah.
Voyager with fine-tooth combs while
Hmm.
everyone just stands away from their stations and tries not to glare or roll their eyes, Balana. And
Yeah. Oh, there's some eye rolling in this episode
oh
for sure,
yeah.
especially from the ladies. It's like,
Hmm.
oh God, men and their fears and their
And their tiny dicks.
inadequacies and their desire for control. Uh,
Yeah.
an interesting thing about why they don't like telepaths is that the whole thing about trust having to be earned, well, it's also that they don't want people to know that they're lying.
Hmm.
And this seems to be a kind of government that's built on lies and
Oh
fear
yes.
mongering.
Control.
And so if you have telepaths that see through that and see your true intentions, that kind of form of government collapses. So I think that's largely why they're going after telepaths
Of
as a
course.
threat to their society, is because it's a threat to their control, because the telepaths can see through your propaganda.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. That's a total fascist organization.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely. You can
completely
just tell,
fascist.
even if their outfits look like they're quilted, or like, I don't know, like kind of look like they're made out of stuff you'd put over your car seat for a little bit more comfort.
Yeah, that's the 90s for you.
Or
Um
electric blankets, when they have the little sewn in bits where the electrics go.
mhm.
They kind of look like they're all wearing electric blankets, gray electric blankets, like flannel.
The funny thing is that these guys, honestly, they should have just gone over to Babylon 5 where the telepaths are the fascists. So,
Right.
you know,
Wait, really? Oh yeah, Babylon 5. I got confused with Deep Space Nine, as you can see why.
yeah,
But
no.
yes, the Psychor and
Hmm.
Bester, another favorite character of mine,
Amazing, amazing
with the Star
character.
Trek connection.
Love to hate him.
So,
Yeah. Walter
yeah.
Koenig. Way to go, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Great
his daughter,
job.
who's a ventriloquist comedian,
Yep. Married to Jimmy
married
Pardo.
to Jimmy Pardo.
Yep.
Yep. And we completed the circle. Yay.
We have completed the circle. Yeah, and obviously, they can't just be hiding these telepaths that we know that are on the ship because obviously we know Tuvok is not dead. And so, I'm like, well, where are they? And I thought, transporter buffer.
Yep.
And sure enough,
I thought
they
maybe
were
they
there.
were all hidden inside barrels, and that they were using this, I guess, radiation to mask their presence. But yeah, it makes sense that they put them in the buffer. Though how they didn't notice that there was something in the buffer, I don't know, when they're
Uh,
scanning everything.
I maybe I don't know how they check for patterns stored in the
Right,
buffer. So,
right.
and long story short, they rematerialize and we're like, okay, well, we're going to see Vorik and the, um, and Tuvok and the other people. And no, it's a
Yep.
bunch more people,
Yeah, a bunch
fugitives,
more fugitives that they picked up.
fugitives. Yeah.
And there's something about like in the pattern buffer is that's the one time you don't want to clear the cookies from your computer.
Yes,
Yes,
never
you just
clear the
wipe them all
cookies.
out.
Yeah, don't do that. I mean, if
Don't clear
somebody,
cookies when there's somebody in the pattern buffer.
I mean, Scotty ended up in the 23rd, 24th century, oh, 23rd century, 23rd,
Yeah, I
24th,
don't know what
24th,
star dates are.
as a 23. Yeah. Anyway, yes, 23rd, it's 24th century. Ended up there because it's stuck in a pattern buffer and
Pattern
wasn't.
buffer.
Now, why didn't his cell degradation happen so quickly?
Maybe because he wasn't in and out, in and out, in and out. Maybe that's what causes it. So if you're in the whole time, maybe you're fine.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
like
think it
how you
works that
don't
way.
want to take meat out of the freezer, thaw it, and put it back in the freezer again.
Yeah, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Pattern degradation happens no matter whether you take them out once or a million times. I
Okay.
mean, if you take them out a million times, it's probably gonna be
Like
worse.
hasten it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So yeah,
in
once
any
you're in
case.
there, if you stay in there, you should be fine.
So yeah, cool. They're helping fugitives that just want to
Yes.
live their damn lives.
Well, that's
S-
kind of what Voyager does is pick
yeah,
up strays.
they do well, they're strays themselves, and so
Yeah.
they're the
They're like a rescue shelter
yeah,
in space.
yeah,
That might be our title.
rescue shelter in space.
Either that or stop and frisk.
We're not
Space
going
stop and
with
frisk.
Devore Emporium.
We might go to the Emporium. Hmm. The
So many
Emporium.
choices. I'll
Yes.
leave it to your judgment.
Eh.
Um, I love story time with Neelix. And one
Yeah,
of the
with the
kids reading his
telepathic
mind.
kids saying what the next line is. Oh, they find a door. Well, that's what I was about to
No,
say, kid.
well, the kid wasn't being mean about it.
Yeah.
It was just one kid, and he wasn't being mean about it.
Yeah.
And Neelix, just gently says it's not nice to read people's minds without their
When they're
permission.
telling a story, yes.
Yeah, when they're telling a story, it's like, I'm sorry. He seemed actually truly sorry.
Hmm.
So, but that gets broken up because, other urgent matters are at hand. Um,
Yeah, how frequent are these patrols?
I like every other minute because
Yeah,
according to the beginning of this episode, this is the third time they've been
yeah.
stopped.
Hmm.
And there's a casual mention of, that it's going to keep happening because the Devore Emporium is
Yep.
huge. So, yeah. I do like the mention of a Matara class nebula. Makes me happy.
Yeah, a
It's
little reference to the Rathacon there.
Rathacon.
Yeah.
So, very nice there.
Rathacon, Rathacon,
Rathacon,
Rathacon.
Rathacon, 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 and Rathacon.
Shakagon, Rathacon. Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry, we are so delirious, you
We're a little bit
guys.
loopy because I'm
Yep.
not even on meds right now, but it feels like it.
Yep. Anyway, Kashyyyk, he
Kashyyyk?
shows up in a shuttle all by himself, talks about
Inspector
how
Kashyyyk.
urgent it is that they got to speak, and I immediately said, "This is a trap." He's saying that
Yeah,
the this nebula up ahead is actually a trap. They're trying to find this
right.
wormhole that these telepaths need to get through. And so they're on their way to that, and Kashyyyk shows up and says, "Hey, this nebula is a trap. If you go there, you will absolutely be arrested, sent to a detention center, your ship confiscated, etc." And of course they let him come on board. And I wrote down immediately, he is playing her. That's the
Yeah, he
sentence
he
that I
gives
wrote.
them some statistics. That's not the right word. Schematics, whatever, about their ships and their vessels and
Yeah,
their
yeah,
patterns of
locations.
searching locations and stuff. So they spot them in this nebula. And so Tuvok is like, well, this is reliable information. And I was back and forth with this guy the whole time because it's like, is he playing? Is he legit? Is he playing? Is he legit? So it had me on tenterhooks, kind of. It's really I they had the worm on the hook, and I was kind of nibbling at the worm, but not really biting
Mm-hmm.
because the whole time, which is fair play to the screenwriting, is that it was a careful balance just to put him on that razor's edge of whether you believe him or not. It was a good suspense because I didn't know. either way until that resolved itself.
And that's well done by the actor. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because
nice
yeah, he is
job, Mark.
still smarmy and stuff, but there's little things like we get into later with certain hints at perhaps a romance between Janeway and Inspector Kashyyyk. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Especially when she's like they're researching where this wormhole or this
How to track it, how to figure out where it's
yeah
going to appear because it
what
doesn't seem to have a pattern.
interspatial fracture or
No,
something
flexure. Interspatial flexure.
interspatial flexure, and what a great alien that is. But yeah, back to the romance thing is they're working on the whole title of the episode being counterpoint. There's a counterpoint in music. You can use subharmonics to locate where the possibility of this wormhole appearing later might be, judging by where it's been in the past, because music is math, blah 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 blah. And there's a moment where, they've been working this whole time and she leans back, stretches, sticks her chest right. I mean, it's the most prominent thing as she's leaning back with her arms behind her head, just presenting to him. And I was like, that is a come on if I've ever seen one. She's just
I
presenting her breasts at him. And I'm like, geez, Janeway, like, a little subtlety maybe?
yeah,
But
and
some guys don't do subtle.
I honestly did not take it that way.
You did take that way. I was like, oh,
Mm-mm.
you are just offering yourself up on a plate right there, Janeway, Catherine, Kate.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I didn't think that she was doing that because she was trying to seduce him. I think that she was trying to distract him. Yes,
Right.
because despite them working well together and all of these things, I know Janeway, and I
Yeah.
know that in the back of her mind, she can't trust that this guy is on the level.
Well, you see that when she walks him to his quarters and he invites her in for, something that he can make on in the replicator. And she's like, that's not going to be possible because your replicator still doesn't work. He's like, because I could replicate a weapon. She says, yes.
Duh.
So right there, you get the hint. Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
still don't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
If I did trust you, I would, allow you to use the replicator, but I do not. And
Yes.
so again, subtext
Mm-hmm.
doesn't out and out say, I don't trust you, but in that statement, and you see him being crestfallen, it's like, well, all right, then that's a good night. And, good night to you too, which is kind of funny scene too, because there's a security guard posted at the door and he stands at attention when Janeway looks at him. And then she says, as you were. And then he relaxes and kind of smiles and giggles to himself again because he just saw them flirting, sort of.
There were actually two, but we only saw
Yeah.
the
We
one
only saw the
security guy.
one,
Yeah,
guy
on the
getting
one
maybe
side in that
paid
shot.
scale for, a non-speaking role on a television series, but it
Yeah,
was a good moment for this extra.
indeed. Indeed.
Oh, should
So,
we talk about this guy that is an expert on wormholes?
yeah, let's talk about that guy and his
What's his
nose.
name? Because this was a great bit part. Is
It
like
it
just
is
finding a character actor to do this.
it's Tarot. His name is
Tarot.
Tarot. Torat. Tarot.
And they
Tarot.
find him just speeding along, trying to evade them. He's like on
Mm-hmm.
his way to a conference because isn't everybody on their way to a conference
Is he
in
though?
Star
I
Trek?
feel like maybe he wasn't. Maybe he
Uh,
had something to hide, but we'll never know.
yep. But just the makeup job on this, and I
Oh,
don't know if this
wow.
is something they intended to do or found that they did by accident with the makeup, but he does this sniff thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the nose part of this makeup, this loaf, will go in and out when he sniffs. And
Yeah.
it is like a character quirk. It's like a tell when he's upset or something, or when he's excited, is
Mm-hmm.
this rapid sniffing and back and forth of this nose. And it's a great character moment that really, sells this comedic relief kind of character in this story of intrigue
Well, yeah,
when
and
they're
then it was a very different sort of thing because the nostrils were actually on top instead
right.
of on the bottom of the nose area. And it
Yeah.
was just it was really, really well done. It was really
Hmm.
well done. It was one of the best aliens because it wasn't just forehead, it was total face.
Yeah. Yeah. And had kind of a long egg kind of shape back of the head too.
Kind of like a xenomorph a little bit.
Yeah. A little bit like a xenomorph, but not too extended, but just kind of a eggy, mottled kind of shape and coloring. But yeah,
Yeah.
really great bit there. And they're playing, like you said, good cop, bad cop with trying to draw out the location of where this wormhole might be. And Janeway wanting to be impressed by his intellect and his research, and Inspector Kashyyyk just not being impressed at all. And
Hmm.
it's like, there's I don't know anything of you because there's nothing worthy of you to be published, just kind of rubbing in something you could do to a scholar is, attack that ego and, their research and undermine it. Like it's not worth my time to even read anything you've published or any of your research because it's beneath me. And, just kind of undercutting his ego to get him, well, a wormhole could be anything.
Yeah.
Now, if you said it was an interspatial flexure, then yeah, I know where one could possibly be, but it's not going to be there the whole time because it moves. And so that's when they get the locations of the previous ones in exchange for fuel that they've replicated for his ship, a specific kind of fuel that'll last him about a year, I think they said.
Yep. They're gonna give him a year's worth of stuff and
Yep.
basically juice up his engines. So it was the perfect good cop, bad cop,
Yeah.
and it was yeah, because the thing about this wormhole is once you find out where it's gonna open, it's gonna stay open for maybe 2 minutes. And
Right.
so time is of the essence.
Hmm.
And that when they were trying to get through this area where they could avoid being scanned and they couldn't shut down the warp engines in time, of course they got detected and now they're on a
Right.
time crunch. And Kashyyyk says he's going to go back. He's going to go back. He had taken 2 weeks of leave, but now he's going to go back
Right.
and
To like stall them.
basically make
Yeah.
this the fastest inspection possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, sure, sure.
Hmm.
I didn't trust him for a second,
Right.
even when he started being kind of genial and interesting, and I'm just like, I don't trust you. Once a fascist, you don't change
Yeah.
your mind in a day.
And he tells us, this sad story of
Mm,
this refugee that was hidden in like a closet. And when he found her and released her, the little girl thanked him. And then he went ahead and put her in this detention center.
yep.
And
She's probably
so,
dead now.
yeah, she's probably dead because he knew what would happen to her and did it anyway.
Yep.
And is suggesting to Janeway that that was, the pang of conscience and that he wants to rescue people to reclaim himself, basically, and have this,
Claims he's been trying to get out for years and hmm
yeah, this arc, redemption arc, that's the term, redemption.
Yeah. My only sadness really is that Tuvok wasted a live long and prosper on him.
Yep. Eh, it's like a howdy,
No, it's like that
like
was
the
a
Vulcan
goodbye.
howdy.
It's not a Vulcan howdy. It can be used
Okay, it's a
as
Vulcan
hello
so
or
long.
goodbye.
Yep, it's
No.
aloha.
Yeah. It's basically. Yeah, there is some swap spitting.
Yeah, they
Janeway
kiss and then kiss
gets
again. So,
gets some kissing. That was,
wow. Oh,
and as an aficionado of how well actors pull off a kiss, they really
mm-hmm.
pulled off the kissing. It
Yep.
was
The first one
really,
was kind of like, but I can understand that. The second kiss was like, oh yeah, now they're into it.
yeah. Well, the first one was kind of a test.
Yeah.
The second one,
Because yeah, there was not much of a reaction from Janeway, but the second one when she takes the initiative, yeah,
hmm
that was a little heavier. Well, she's a little spitfire.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So as it stands, they have to submit to the inspection
Mm-hmm.
and everything is going according to plan, supposedly.
Yep.
And then at the end, of course, when they're saying, "Oh yes, we know you've got them stored in the transporter buffer and rematerialize them now, and your ship's going to be impounded," all this stuff. And
Right.
so they rematerialize the stuff, and it's just barrels of veg, just veg.
Mm-hmm.
But two
Yep.
shuttlecraft are missing. Guess what? Those two shuttlecraft will be back. Because that's what happens on Voyager. It doesn't matter how many shuttlecrafts they lose, send people off in, never to be seen again, or anything. they always have a full complement of shuttles.
Yeah, they have an infinite reserve of shuttlecraft and an infinite reserve of torpedoes, but they're
Mm,
lost in space.
yes,
So,
they are.
yeah, figure that out.
So, and Janeway is pretty, she's acting very, very well to be so devastated at
Hmm.
his double cross
Yep.
until he realizes that those people aren't even on the ship and they make it through the wormhole and he's fucked now.
Yeah, because he launches a torpedo at what he thinks is the wormhole, but nothing happens because it's just some kind of radiation anomaly.
Yep. And yeah, he's getting more and more upset because he was outthunk by
Yep.
a lady who takes in refugees, no less.
And
So,
again, the duplicitness, because his second is like going to report him and stuff, is like that's going to reflect badly on both of us. So
hmm
let's just ignore that this ever happened
yep.
because that's the way this kind of government works.
Yeah, that's
They
how fascists
promise
go.
law and order, they promise transparency,
Yeah,
and but no, it's all dishonesty and corruption when you
indeed.
just wipe away the the smart uniforms and the jackboots.
hmm
It's all corruption.
Yep. The highest order. And see, that's the only reason that they're in Emporium. I
Yep.
can't stop saying it now, is
Emporium.
because that's how fascism is.
Hmm.
They just absorb other people and keep them under their thumb until they're so big that no one
Well,
dares rumble with them.
it's you blame others for all the problems of the country, so you have no need or desire to actually do anything to fix the issue. You
hmm
say, hey, it's that guy's fault that you're in the position you're in. We, as your government, don't have to do anything to fix your situation because it's that guy's fault you are where you are.
Yep.
Even though the government could fix problems by having social programs and using tax dollars in a reasonable fashion. But nope, it's that guy's over there's fault that's doing nothing to, other than trying to live their life and live the American dream as an immigrant, just like your forefathers came to this country to do. But
hmm
somehow they get to close the door behind them for whatever reason. And we can argue about what's legal and what's illegal, but it's like the saying goes, there's no illegal immigration on stolen land.
Yep.
It's like this wasn't claimed legitimately in the first place. So these rules about what borders are or anything is kind of loose to begin with because we conquered this place. And somehow that makes us think that we have a moral right to determine who's a citizen and who's not, and by what means. 'Cause I'd
hmm
say, yeah, have legal or immigration and create avenues for people to get nationalized, to swear an oath, to learn what it's like to be an American citizen, to kind of speed that process instead of forcing people to have babies to populate the planet when we can just or to populate the nation when we can just allow people in. But because they're a different color and they speak a different language somehow, and guess what? Spanish was spoken here in America before English was.
hmm
It's grandfathered in as a language. There are people living in California that used to be Mexico, people in Texas that used to be Mexico speaking Spanish before any English speaker was there.
Yes.
So stop acting like English is our national language. It isn't. There is just no national language for America. So, oh, sorry, get off my soapbox now. But yeah, we were talking about fascism and
Yeah.
how there's such a resurgence of fascism around the world right now, and how many idiots embrace it
hmm
when it's against their own best interests,
Yeah, they never
and
think about that.
how quickly people embrace a lie because somehow it makes them feel better
Yeah, it fits their
about their
narrative.
situation, even
Yeah.
if it's a freaking lie.
Yep. Yeah, this is why I don't watch the news.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that I'm ignorant, folks. I'm not ignorant. I just don't want to watch it all. And
Yeah,
besides that, I don't trust mainstream media anymore.
right. Well, yeah, well, it depends. Yes, yeah, there's that too. There's some reliable news sources, but a lot of the televised ones are owned by corporations that have vested interest in what news gets peddled, what person becomes president because of their own bottom line. It's
hmm
it's the dollar that they have their eye on. It's not the truth. But
Yep.
there's places, more independent kind of places that are trying to peddle you the truth instead of the
hmm
lie. What else was I going to say about fascism and shit? Oh, I was going to talk about not watching the news. It's advisable for your own mental health in certain circumstances to not watch the news because it's like doom scrolling. It's just the worst thing over and over and over again. A lot of my Twitter feed is populated with cats
Same.
and the bodega cats, the cats
Oh, the bodega
cosplay, the
cats.
cats being strange guys.
Yeah, weird little guys,
There's
yes.
no cat in this picture, all those are just adorable, fun things to kind of cleanse the palate from all the terrible news out there. And it's not even like it matters whether you're a legal immigrant or illegal immigrant, because look at all the propaganda slung at the Haitians in Ohio, in
Hmm.
Springfield. They were legal immigrants invited to go there to fill in vacant jobs to help save a dying city, but because they're different color and they speak a different language, the senator for this country peddles downright lies that they were told lies in the first place to form some kind of unrest or to win political points with their base, their racist base, ever since Barry Goldwater and the Southern strategy to win Southern votes after the signing of the Civil Rights Act. That's when all the Southern Democrats switched to Republicans. That's why the South is now red states and not blue, even though they say the Democrats were in the KKA. Once they were, that changed with the signing of the Declaration or the Civil Rights Act. So, yeah, fascists. Fighting fascism is a full-time job.
God bless you, Shax. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Oh, prophets bless you, Shax.
prophets bless you. Whew,
Gotta say it
sorry.
right.
Got
Why are you
my
sorry?
justice nerve. You're just like
Yeah. No, that's
pushing
that's a good
the
thing.
justice button on me. It's like, grrr,
Yeah.
goddamn fascist. Fuck them.
Yeah. I
Fuck
I
them in their
hope,
tiny fascist ears.
yeah, right in the ears.
Yep.
So overall, what did you think of this episode, Dave?
I liked it. Like I said, it had me going back and forth. Acting's great. There was one bit that was a little odd with the focus pulling. It just said, "Oh yeah, this is a budget television show," because they're really in close and Keshika's slightly out of focus. And
Hmm.
then, he comes in to focus more, but I don't know, maybe that was by design because he's duplicitous. They had him be a little hazy because he was being a little hazy, but it might be putting too much
You're giving them
intention
too
on
much
something that
credit.
was, yeah, too much credit on something that was unintentional, and that
Also,
maybe they just fucked up a focus pull.
also you have to remember the time period in the equipment with
Mhm.
which this was made.
Yeah, that maybe they
So
didn't have,
there was no
the cameras
HD.
that digitally do the
No,
focus themselves, or
no. They
yeah,
probably it just honestly anything that was made in the 90s and even the early 2000s, even when you do the HD workover, it
yeah.
still shows that this was from, an earlier time period when we
Well, yeah,
didn't
even
have all
the
these techniques.
aspect ratio of everybody being face to face because they had to fit in frame, which they don't have
Yep,
to do anymore
yep.
now that
That's
we
the
have
beauty of
widescreen.
widescreen. Widescreen
Yeah.
is amazing. I love it. You get so
Yeah,
much
that they're
more.
not touching noses while they talk to each other.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I think this was a great episode. Down with fascism.
Down with
Um,
fascism. Up
I'm
with telepaths, I guess.
yep, up with telepaths because unless you're in Psychor, in which case,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, see, that's the whole thing is that it's a fascist organization that was made by non-telepath fascists. Basically, all
Mhm.
telepaths have to register, and if you
Right.
don't register, then you're considered rogue and you can be fucking put to death even.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, you have to either take pills to subdue your telepathic
or be part of
talents,
Psychor.
or be part of Psychor, or die, or
Hmm.
go in
Those,
hiding, or become a refugee or something.
yeah, those are your
Uh,
choices. That's
yeah.
fascism.
Yeah.
It's fascism for you. So, great episode. What a great episode.
Yeah, this was a good one. I liked the counterpoint and how that featured, you know, as like subtext and also into the scientific method by which they found the wormhole.
Hmm.
Interesting. His taste in music and stuff, just trying just like psychologically profiling Janeway to see how they could manipulate her, and then she wins in the end because she's the better person and she's more clever and cunning
Yeah.
because
She
yeah,
doesn't
that's
trust
just her.
fascists.
Yeah, that's just the way about her. And that
James
weird thing
Whittaker.
where it talks about how picking up refugees was a violation of the Prime Directive, and it isn't
No, it isn't. You're
because they
not
would have been.
influencing. Well, I mean,
the-
technically, they were on another ship.
Yeah,
So are they interfering with the natural progression of those telepaths' world? No, they are
right.
not.
Yeah, and there's stuff like asylum seeking and stuff like that. Speaking of
Mm-hmm.
immigration and stuff, is if they seek asylum, then you embrace them. That's part of, I believe, the Prime Directive. If they're specifically asking for asylum, you can
Yep.
grant that to them, and it's one of the
That's the
exceptions
captain's
to the Prime
discretion.
Directive. Yeah,
Yeah, captain's discretion.
yeah, it's more of a guideline than a rule anyway. As often as they talk
Yeah.
about it be the Prime Directive, is like they break it all the time
Well, yeah,
because it's a guideline.
they called it General Order 1 and then it became
Mhm.
just the shorthand Prime Directive was the
Yeah,
thing. And
it's like don't interfere unless you have to.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like a lot of times I'm like, yeah, just go ahead and interfere. Come on.
Yeah,
Don't let
yeah,
these people die.
yeah. They
So,
do it all the time. It's like there, how many civilizations has the Federation saved by fixing a planet that was about to explode or whatever without the knowledge of the people living there?
mhm,
A true Prime Directive would have just been like this kind of really like sour kind of libertarian take on Darwinism and just whatever
mm,
happens to somebody happens because they have to be responsible for themselves.
yep.
Back to libertarianism. But yeah, it's like, oh, there's a kitty right there. Hey, bud.
Kitty.
Oh, no,
All
you heard him
right.
now.
Do you have any other thoughts about our discussion, or is it time to pick another episode?
I think it's time to pick another episode. See if you hear him here purring.
I do not hear him.
Okay. He's not doing much of a purr anyway.
He's like, stop it. I
Yeah,
do
he
not
wants.
want.
Yeah,
Do not
it's not even
want.
dinner time for you. He probably wants treats.
Okay, let me get to the space where I'm supposed to be, which is not where I am right now. I should have had this better prepared. I was so prepared with everything else, and then I wasn't. Then I
Yep.
wasn't. So,
Ooh, I
yeah.
get to guess where we are again. That's always fun. And be totally
Yeah.
wrong because I haven't been right yet.
Eh, it's all good. Okay, my ADHD is so bad right now.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's good that you've discovered that for yourself. It's clarified a lot of things that, your behavior and your history and things like that, and how you like to tell me the story, like the details of stories you're reading.
yes, I make him sit through explanations of the books that I read, and he's just so patient with me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
because it's
very
her love
kind.
language, being an ADHD person. She likes to share her interests with me.
Okay, I now have the thingy up, the
Up,
spreadsheet, Dan's
he's got
spreadsheet.
his back to me like he's upset with me.
He's abhorred with you. He's just
Yep.
so angry that you're not giving him all of his attention.
Right.
So once again, our bi-weekly or bi-monthly, depending on how you want to say it, thanks to Dan Gunther for his
Dan
spreadsheet
Gunther
and
Bench.
also for letting us borrow this idea
Oh, did
and
we have any
such.
feedback?
Uh, I'm trying
Because
to remember.
we have an email address now, so I don't think
Yes.
getting
As
feedback
far as I
directly to
know,
me.
we do not,
Okay.
but let
Oh,
me double check
right.
because
'Cause, yeah, I hadn't seen anything on my Twitter feed,
I am
which
it's
is
not.
at Dark Corner Cast or DJ Evil Dave. I think you could find me either way. Oh,
Hmm.
speaking of, it's October under DJ Evil Dave on SoundCloud. I have the mandatory Spooky October playlist, so it's kind of Halloween themed, spooky tunes, about an hour long, a continuous mix. Oh, and I
Excellent.
have the Horror Corner on Spotify, also under DJ Evil Dave, if you want to give that a listen. It's about 75 tracks right now, but I need to add to it.
Yeah. Yeah, we do not have any feedback.
Oh, and that song, I just remembered the name of it. I believe it's called Nothing Stays. And that's off the first Cyberactive album back in the 1980s. Nothing Stays, Cyberactive. And that's with
Nice.
a AKTIF, Cyberactive.
Right. Radio. Anyway,
So,
um,
asking the powers that be for our next episode.
yes. All right. 933, right?
933
Guys,
episodes of
we've
Star Trek
been we have been so
movies.
sick this week. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we're a bit out of it. And lack of sleep too, because it's hard to sleep if you're coughing.
Yeah.
Though having some honeyed NyQuil
Oh,
helps a bit.
that stuff is from the gods.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, it doesn't even make
Well,
me gag when I take it.
yeah.
Okay, so, hey Siri, give me a number between 1 and 933.
It's 206.
206.
206.
Ooh, Deep Space Nine?
We'll soon find out. I'm gonna guess it's probably TNG, actually. All right. 206 is Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 4,
Oh,
Episode 26, Redemption, which is part one of
Redemption.
two parts.
Oh, so there we go with our two-parter question.
It's a cliffhanger, fucking cliffhanger.
Okay,
I
that
can
should
tell
be
by the air
interesting,
dates because the air date of
right?
Redemption is 17th of June 1991 and the air date of Redemption 2 is September 23rd, 1991. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
Do we get the season and the episode again?
Season 4, episode 26.
426. It's not quite
426.
420.
Not quite, no. 420 would
Oops.
be Cupid.
Oh, that's interesting.
Funny.
It's also Hitler's birthday talking about it, or
Ugh,
fascism.
bleh.
Yep.
Nasty. They're nasty.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so there we go, folks.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
and fascism rarely ends well for the fascists, because look at how Mussolini and Hitler ended up.
mm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't do it. Don't do it.
No,
Fascism.
no.
Don't do it.
Doesn't end well for the fascists.
It's not worth it. Not worth
Nope.
it, y'all. Okay. All right then. Well, we have survived with I there's one cough you're gonna have to mute, Dave, and I apologize for that because I didn't hit my
Leave it
mute button.
in. We
Leave
don't
it in.
mute.
No,
We
just
don't
leave it in.
edit. We don't nothing. If you
Leave it
didn't
in.
hit your mute button, that's just
Yeah.
the way it goes. That's how the
That's the
dice
way
roll.
that cookie crumbles. I
Me
can't
saying
talk.
Emporium, it's just the way it goes. No
Yes,
corrections.
yes.
You
You
get
are
my tirade on fascism in its full.
yeah,
The only
well,
thing I do is truncate silence and remove noise.
yes. And to be fair, we did correct Emporium to Imperium, but it's just more fun to say Emporium.
It is.
It's the Devore Emporium. Anything your heart desires, you'll
Would
find
you
it
like
here.
it? Would you like an electric blanket jacket? We have plenty.
All right, guys. We will talk to you again in 2 weeks for that next episode, the title of which I've already forgotten. Redemption? Is that it?
Redemption.
Redemption. Season 4,
Redemption.
episode 26, TNG.
Which is
Yeah.
weird because redemption was a word I was trying to think of earlier. So
Funny.
redemption. Yes.
Redemption. So yeah, that's your homework. Go
All right.
watch
Watch
Redemption,
Redemption,
part
and
one.
in 2 weeks' time we'll talk about it.
Yep. So this is our first TNG episode that we'll be covering.
Yeah, I mean we already did Picard, so there's that.
That's not
But
the same
yeah,
thing.
this is
This is
the first.
TNG.
Yeah, it's just the same actors just later.
Yep, exactly. All
Yep.
right, folks. Once again, you can find us on the socials, mostly at Shield Podulation, but on Twitter it's at Shield Podulate because
Right.
fascism.
Because character spaces. Yeah,
It's
free
fascism.
speech advocate, except for how many spaces you get for your Twitter handle.
Yeah, it's fascism.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's on Instagram and on Blue Sky and on is that it? And on
Probably,
Twitter.
unless you're on Instagram too. Or no, we're on Facebook under Shield Population too. I have
Ah,
a group under that.
right.
I'm DJ Evil Dave most places.
I'm Brandywine in most places, but Brandywine12 on Twitter.
Right.
Brandy Jackola on uh fucking Instagram. God, sorry.
Fucking Instagram.
Fucking Instagram. No, I don't hate Instagram. Actually, I've gotten really into the book side of Instagram. I've become like a book reviewer now.
Is that the one that does reels?
They all do reels, babe.
Okay. All right. I thought
You can
everything
you
had
can
a
do
specific thing,
no
but yeah.
no.
Okay.
You can do reels from any Instagram account.
All right. Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Or any social media account.
Well,
So
reels are specific to Instagram. That is their
that's
term
what I
for the
meant.
videos.
That's
Yeah.
what I meant is reels being specific to Instagram.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I didn't understand that.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
that's my clarification.
you guys don't need to know any of this. So we will
Right.
talk to you again in 2 weeks, and here's hoping we don't sound like this when we do.
Yeah, 2 weeks. That better be recovered by then. Either that or pick up another illness because you know how they cycle around, especially in a workspace.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. All right.
All right then. Live logs and proper, everyone.
Live long and prosper.
Skilla.
Skilla.